Hey, hey, hey. Time for another Out of This World story from rSpace. We all know AI has come a long way, but apparently not far enough to take the fall for your garbage choices. Today on rSpace, if your partner claims absolutely nothing happened, something definitely happened. Girlfriend said picture of her cheating was AI. I showed the world how very real it was. I, 28 male, have been dating my girlfriend Anna, 27 female, for 5 years now. Everything with us has been working so well that there was no real reason for me to think that things were going to end in anything but marriage. I know the kind of ring she likes the most, I know her ring size, and I know the things that she hates seeing in proposals. I had no idea when I was going to do it, but I was getting ready for it because I knew that I loved her and that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. In the last few weeks, things have changed so much that my life has done a complete 180, and I know that I don't want anything to do with this woman in the future. I don't know where to start in telling this because I want it to be understood why I made some of the decisions that I did, but I think I should start by saying that Anna and I met fresh out of college. I was already working at a company when she joined. We didn't talk much initially, but after being put on a project together, we eventually hit it off. I left the company after about 2 years of working there, and it was at that point that we got romantic and started our relationship. We've met each other's families, we've gone on trips together, and the only major milestone besides marriage was moving in together, though that never happened. We would stay over at each other's apartments for days at a time, but it was never more significant than that. I think it was the fact that we didn't cohabitate that made it a lot easier for her to cheat on me. I thought that things were perfectly fine between us, beyond the occasional argument that couples have. I never felt that she had eyes for anyone else because when we were together, she'd fawn over me, the same way I'd fawn over her. I assumed, knowing my own feelings, that there was no way I could feel the way I felt and still want to cheat. I projected that on her, but it was a bad decision, and I learned that women can be snakes in a relationship, and you'll have absolutely no clue about it. I didn't even find out that she was cheating through my own reasoning or intelligence, which hurts more, because it could have gone on forever if not for a stroke of luck. I was scrolling on Instagram when I noticed that I got a message request from someone that I don't follow. His name was Devon, and I could tell from his profile that he was an avid club goer and that he lived in the same city that we did. The actual message didn't tell me what he wanted, beyond the fact that he had something important to tell me. So I accepted it and responded to him to go ahead. He replied about 3 hours later and said that he was letting me know because he was respecting me as a man, but that he had slept with Anna. He clarified that he wasn't trying to boast or cuck me, but that he felt it was important for me to know the person that I was with. Reading that, I remember that it felt like my head was spinning. I didn't believe the guy, but the mere consideration of the possibility was enough to really ruin my mood at the time. I think it was because I realized that it could really actually be true that Anna was cheating on me, and I would have no idea of it. Of course, I asked him what proof he had of it. He told me that he didn't have any proof of them actually hooking up, but he gave me a date and told me the club where it had happened. One thing that I didn't like about Anna around that time that I met her was that she was big on clubs and parties and getting a bit too drunk. We hadn't started dating at the time, but as the job got more serious, she started to reduce how much she partied. Plus, I began to make it clear to her that how I wasn't a big fan of people who thought alcohol was the only way to have fun. I genuinely thought she had changed. But here was someone telling me that she had secretly been going to clubs, and I had no idea. The only time she had told me she was going to a party at a club was when one of her friends was getting married, and they were going to stop by a club for the bachelorette. I didn't have an issue with that because I don't have an issue with things being done in moderation. But for her to go and simply not tell me was crazy. He also sent me a picture from the club photographer, who he said he was good friends with. The picture didn't necessarily prove cheating, but it showed that she was at the club, and it showed that she had been with Devon. He had her arm around her and was holding a bottle of something in the same hand. She looked happy to be there too. He told me that they had left around 3 a.m. and hooked up. She left around 6 a.m. in the morning, and that was it. They didn't even exchange socials, but he had been thinking about her, so he got the photo and then asked around. He said that someone had recognized her, but that person knew me too, and mentioned that she had a boyfriend. As much as Devon seemed to be someone who lived life a bit wildly, he had enough of a moral compass. He said he contemplated whether he should reach out to me, but ultimately he decided that he should, because he had been cheated on back when he cared about being in relationships, and he would have liked it if someone had stopped him from feeling like such a fool at the end of it. I told him that I'd like to meet up with him and talk about it in more detail, and he said that was fine. We were going to meet the next day. Before then, I checked my conversation with Anna to see what she claimed happened on that day. She had basically gone AWOL on me from around 10 p.m., which was odd but not concerning. She came back the next morning claiming that she had fallen asleep because she was exhausted. I bought it without questioning it for a second because I'm stupid and oblivious. There was really no reason for me to not believe her affair partner at that point. The next day, I met up with him. It was awkward at first, but eventually things got comfortable enough for me to ask questions and understand the situation. He said that he was a promoter, so he was always at clubs most nights. He admitted that he hooked up with girls frequently, but most of the time he could assume they were single. He had only had a few occasions to ask whether they had men at home because those ones sometimes didn't seem committed to the lifestyle of casual flings. He said he didn't feel that way around Anna, so he had no reason to ask. He didn't want to give too many details of what happened when they went back to his place, but I told him to tell me. He let me know that they got back, chatted over champagne, and then started making out there in the living room. He effed her once there, and then some minutes later, they moved to the bedroom and had it happen again. Soon after, he fell asleep, and right before she left in the morning, they did it once more. He said he wasn't happy to be telling me all of this. I told him that I wanted to know because it would stop me from being a coward and feeling like I should take her back. He said that he had a good time with her, both before and after he slept with her, and that she was very pretty, so he couldn't just forget about her like that. He knew her name was Anna, but he didn't get any of her handles and he wanted to see her again. His photographer contact let him look through the pictures. He found the few that had her in them, including one that had the two of them, which was the one he sent me. Then he had asked a few of his close friends whether they recognized her. He was able to get specific with his search and who he asked because she had mentioned the industry that she worked in. He felt lucky to find her, but then he had been told that there was another man in the picture. This wasn't his first time outing a woman to their man. He said he wouldn't stop either, unless something really bad happened on one of those occasions. I thanked him for the role that he had played, and I asked him if he'd be willing to actually step in if I needed him at any point in my confrontation. He wasn't excited about that and told me probably not, because he didn't want to get in the middle of things like that. I understood, and I let it go. I left after that. From there I went to see Anna as soon as I could, because I needed her to know that I knew everything, and I wanted to hear her explanation, even though I knew that I was going to be done with her. She didn't notice that anything was off when she opened the door for me, and I knew there was no point in me holding back or trying to plan things out, especially since we weren't married, so I asked her when she had gone to the club last. I could tell that she knew there was a specific answer she was meant to give to that question, and she thought about her answer well before telling me that it had been some weeks ago. Her answer was close enough to the time that she and Devon had hooked up. I let her know that was the right answer. I asked her why she didn't tell me, and I asked her how many times she had snuck off to the club without telling me since we had started dating. She didn't know how much I knew, and I could tell it was really making her uneasy. She said that she didn't tell me because she knew I didn't like it. She said that nothing bad happened when she would go to the club, but would rather not deal with me being upset over a situation that there was nothing to be upset about. She apologized for it and said that she just wanted to have fun, and she meant no harm. I noticed that she didn't answer my second question about how many times she had lied and gone to the club without telling me. She paused for a long time, and it was only when I prompted her to answer me that she said she couldn't count how many times. So I asked her, "A lot?" And she nodded. That alone would have been good enough for me to end things with her because I can't be in a relationship with someone who I can't trust. I asked her whether there was anything else that I had to be worried about, like whether anything had happened during one of those club visits, and she shook her head and said, "Absolutely nothing." I didn't hesitate to pull out the picture from the club that showed her with Devon. I asked her if she could explain what I was looking at. I was shocked by how fast she said, "That's not me." She said it so fast that I started to wonder whether Devon had been lying or if it truly wasn't her. But I could tell it was because the top she was wearing was one I had seen her wearing before. Sure, the facial expression made it such that I couldn't say with 100% certainty that it was her, but I didn't need 100% to know that it was. She lied that night. The person was wearing the same top, and the person Devon had contacted also thought it was her. I asked her if she had gone to that club before. She said she had, but not anytime recently. I went through my phone and showed her a picture of her wearing the exact same blouse that was in the photo. She started there, and she tried to say that it wasn't her again, but then she changed mid-sentence and said, "I can see how it looks like me, but I swear it isn't." I told her that I didn't like how she was trying to deny it when it was obvious how clear it was. At that point, she switched to a different tactic and started to get irate. She said that I was supposed to believe her when she said it wasn't her. She claimed that it was probably AI from someone who didn't like her. I asked her whether she was really claiming that the picture I was holding was AI generated, and she shrugged and said, "Maybe, I don't know, but it's not me, I swear." I won't lie, there was a tiny bit of doubt that she was putting in my mind with how strongly she was insisting that it wasn't her. But I knew that it had to be. The AI excuse was what made me even more pissed, and even though I hadn't gone there with the intention to break up right away, I realized that there was nothing for me to wait for. I told her that I didn't believe her. I knew it was her because the person she had slept with told me that it was her, and that was how I knew everything despite how well she had tried to hide it. I told her he had told me enough for me to know for a fact that it was her, and that the ease with which she slept with him and the fact she had snuck off to the club on so many occasions without telling me was why I was ending things with her. She seemed surprised to hear that, which was silly because there was no other outcome which she should have expected once the topic of my visit became clear. I went through her house to pick up some of the things that belonged to me, and I told her that I'd send everything that belonged to her in a few days. However, I didn't want to see her show up at my place for any reason, because I couldn't predict how I'd flip out at her. She started crying as she watched me pack, because she could tell I meant it. Looking back, it really pisses me off. You cheat for the momentary thrill of it, but when you end up losing a good man as a result, you start to regret your decisions and cry. Why wasn't the good man enough for you? She wanted to be a hoe, though, and I'm glad she got to live that reality before I ended things with her. The fact that I don't know how many other times she cheated makes things even worse. I'm glad that this isn't a divorce, because if it were, I'd be attempting to milk her dry, but I'd also be going through a lot more pain and heartbreak, and I'm not interested in any of that. I'm just happy that I'm done with her. I've sent her back all of her stuff, and I'm going to be a single man. I can't lie that it still stings, though, but it is what it is. All I can say is that we men need to be very careful with the people we date. We need to be extra vigilant, but somehow not insecure. It's tough, but I've learned. Update. I had no idea whatsoever that I'd be back writing an update to my initial post about my girlfriend Anna. She cheated on me with a club promoter, and I only found out because the same club promoter decided to come clean. I'm glad that he did, though, because now I know the truth. And I think that over the few weeks after breaking up with her, what she did began to sink in more and more, and I got extremely frustrated just thinking of it. I had one very bad night where I got very drunk in my apartment because I was in so much pain. I think that was when my eyes were opened and I realized that I couldn't just let her get away with what she had done. She had lied to me several times and cheated on me at least once, with zero remorse. Then, she had lied once I found her out, claiming that the evidence was generated by AI. She got off with a breakup, which I also had to suffer, despite not being the one to cheat. She needed something else to cause her pain, and I knew what I was going to do. The picture of her in the club wasn't something I was going to get in trouble for posting, so I decided that I was going to spread the word and let everyone know the kind of woman that she was. So I started by sending the picture to her parents and siblings. In the message I sent with it, I told them that there was a possibility that she hadn't told them we'd broken up, and if she hadn't mentioned the true reason. I attached the photo and let them know the entire story, and when that picture had been taken, we had still been together. She didn't tell me she was going to the club, and had lied that she went to bed early. On a whim, after that, I decided to send the photo to some other people that she knew. I even posted it on my Instagram story, though in a more flippant tone there. I talked about how AI had advanced so much that my ex-girlfriend, with her handle tagged, almost looked like she was truly out with another man. But then it was just AI, so everything was safe. I posted it on X with the same caption. The response from everywhere was overwhelming, and I decided not to even answer any of them because there was no point. I just wanted to put her business out there and make sure it was immortalized on the internet in one way or another. Needless to say, she came to my house that evening in a rage. She got in my face, screaming, and she pushed me and poked me in the chest enough that if she were a man, I would have decked her by then. She was screaming about how I had humiliated her and how I wasn't a real man if I was resorting to such bitch-like tactics to get back at her. She said I could have cheated on her too if I wanted to show that I was a man, but I had to be petty and act like a woman. She threatened me to delete it from X, or else. But I just shook my head. I didn't say a single thing until she stopped talking, and then I grabbed her by the neck of her outfit and dragged her out of my house. I let her know that I had gotten even and I didn't want to ever see her again. If she tried to show up at my house, I'd be sure to get a restraining order. I haven't seen her since then. So that's my life. I do wish I had been able to find a more robust form of revenge, but at the same time, I know that it wasn't worth my effort. I'm trying not to care about her anymore. Now that I've done this, I will probably post the picture again at some point in the future if I feel pissed off enough about it again. But for now, I'm just trying to heal from the mess that she's made in my life, and I think I'm making some progress. She gets caught red-handed, and her defense is literally straight out of a Black Mirror episode. It's not me, it's the AI version of me. Bro, what? 5 years. 5 years. You had the whole proposal planned out, knew the ring, knew the things she hated seeing, and she's out there sneaking off cheating on you. Then the guy just slides into your DMs like he's doing you a favor, telling you she's been busy. Imagine finding out your girlfriend's cheating because some random club promoter decided to be Mr. Morality. Unreal. What's the most outrageous excuse someone has ever given for cheating? Share your stories with us below. And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.